next Secretary General of the UN. There are, I think, 4 candidates. One of whom is Rafael Grossi, the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Of course, if he became Director General, then he would bring a lot of technical experience to dealing with issues related to North Korea and to Iran, to their nuclear programs. So that would be very interesting from that point of view. The others don't, as far as I'm aware, have that experience, but of course they would make full use of the expertise that exists within the UN organization and within the International Atomic Energy Agency to move those issues forward. I don't have any useful comments to make on reform at the UN. As I said in my talk, I would like to see the General Assembly more active on issues related to international peace and security. But that's for the individual members of the General Assembly to take forward.
Jeff, and I'm a software engineer. And my question to you today is the UN Security Council defunct or has lost its prestige in a way? There are countries on the UN Security Council that have veto power that probably no longer subscribe to North Korean sanctions. I know Sergei Lavrov has said that he basically considers the North Korea question finished.
Well, I think Security Council has a very important role to play as the focus of the world community in terms of addressing issues of international peace and security. The fact that you have members of the P5 that don't go, you have got P5 unanimity, I think is extremely unfortunate. I hope that's only a temporary state of affairs, but it may go on for a bit. But I think if you want to look at another part of the UN as perhaps having a role to play here, then I think the General Assembly is potentially important. But the General Assembly needs to assume a role in terms of international peace and security. And I know that, for example, after the ending of the North Korea panel, there was some exploration within the General Assembly about setting up some mechanism there to take over monitoring of sanctions, and it never came to anything for reasons I'm not quite sure about. But I personally would like to see the General Assembly playing more of a role here in terms of trying to lead the UN community if you have not got unanimity within the P5 on the Security Council.
Thanks so much. Thanks very much. Itai.
Okay. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. My name is Itai. I teach at Georgia College. And my question is about the middle powers. I don't think you mentioned much of Australia, India, Japan. What is their role? And if you can also add if there's any interest by Taiwan to be part of this group, given the China threat. Thank you very much.
If we're talking about the multilateral sanctions monitoring team, Taiwan's not a member of that, nor is India, and I don't know whether India or Taiwan have any plans to join it or to set up some sort of alternative. I'm just not aware of that. But it seems to me that, going back to what I was saying about the General Assembly, those two countries play important roles within the General Assembly, and perhaps they might be able to generate some momentum there to set up some alternative monitoring mechanism.
Hi, my name is Paul Pope. I just wanted to ask if there are any specific think tanks that produce detailed reports about sanctions implementation that you found helpful on either country?
In London, there's a think tank called the Royal United Services Institute. They do a lot of work on sanctions. There's also an organisation in London called the Open Source Centre, which the people in there used to be part of the Royal United Services, but they've split off. But they work particularly with overhead imagery and look at issues related to, for example, vessels transporting oil to North Korea. And they produced a report recently about vessels transporting oil from Russia. So those are two organisations, and then in Washington you have the Center, you have CNS.
Center for New American Security.
You have CNS, you have Center for New American Security, you have CSIS. 38 North is good on North Korean issues. But this is a slight problem with this subject, in that you have these, London and Washington, you don't have much elsewhere. In France, you have the Centre for Strategic Research, does some work on sanctions. You've got organisations in Seoul that do work on sanctions. I can't remember the names of those, I'm afraid. You don't have much in Australia that I'm aware of. So if you're looking, what you want to do is you would like to have a think tank, which represented a number of different countries from a number of different regions. It's very difficult to come up with that.
Thanks. I'm Mike Klaczewski. I work in the State Department longer than I care to admit. I was just wondering, you mentioned unilateral sanctions, and the U.S. has been a pretty active country in terms of unilateral sanctions. Congress seems, whenever they don't have any other solution for an issue, they throw it to unilateral sanctions. What does somebody like you, who was working at the UN on sanctions, feel about that? Does it kind of water down the process, or is it just a reality that you accept? Thanks for the question.
I mean, it's a sort of reality you have to accept.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think I think the great thing about UN sanctions, a thing about UN sanctions, of course, is that because the Security Council has to agree them, they generally get set at a fairly low level. But having Security Council sanctions in place, many countries use that fact to build their own more stringent sanction. I mean, the US is very good at that, often referencing Security Council sanctions when it's producing designations, for example. So I think if you're in the UN, it's pretty important that when you're collecting evidence about sanctions evasions, we're dealing with Security Council sanctions evasions, not EU or something else. Both have a role to play. I think UN sets a low bar, but it's a bar that others can build on.
In the North Korea case, the bar is really, really high for unilateral sanctions because the U.S. Congress, in a bipartisan way, cares very deeply about North Korean human rights. And so they conditioned the abrogation of unilateral sanctions on North Korea on North Korea making significant improvements in its human rights situation, that's quite difficult to imagine, right? North Korea agreeing to shut down its political prison camps as a part of a denuclearization agreement, and then so you have the specter of a potential, Congress versus White House sort of disagreement in the case of an agreement. So it's so complicated. Well, that's it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you touched on humanitarian issues there, which There's no specific reference in Security Council sanctions to humanitarian issues other than in some of the preamble paragraphs. But there's an increasing focus on that. And certainly in the North Korea panel, that issue has been dealt with. Actually, there were two people dealing with it, and all the reports contain some reference to humanitarian issues, and every year there was a questionnaire sent out to relevant organizations to try to understand better what the issues were.
Thank you so much. Ms. Dang. We've got 301 at the back. Please hang out and get a chance to say hello to our speaker. Thanks.